American champion Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed was, of course, cut in the latest round of releases by WWE. We discussed how he was the former NXT North American champion. There was talk of him potentially coming up to the main roster. That didn't materialize. Well, Bronson Reed actually, Trevor, he came forward in a video on Twitter, and we're going to play the audio of that in a second. He came forward and he discussed his reaction to his release and what his next steps might be. So let's just quickly take a listen.
So I have had some time to reflect now and some time to just process what has happened. And I was very shocked, very upset. As you know, this doesn't just affect me, it affects my wife as well. And we are here in a foreign country, but my wife is a super positive person, and she's kept me positive as well. And I just wanted to reach out to all you guys, and I'm just very thankful, the love and support that I've received online is just incredible. I was trending on Twitter, and that means a lot to me. It means a lot to me that, a lot of you feel for me and will still continue to follow me no matter what. I did want to, thank NXT. I want to thank Hunter and Sean for believing in me. I want to thank all the coaches, Terry Taylor, Scotty Tuhati, Norman Smiley, Steve Carino, those guys that I learned a lot from. And I wanted to thank, all the boys backstage as well. It was a great locker room to be a part of. But, I am staying positive, and I do believe I am bar none the best super heavyweight in the world. And I'll continue to prove that. So, as they say, one door closes and another one opens. Well, for me, many doors are open. And now it's just about which one I want to walk through. So, thank you very much for all the support and love, and please keep supporting. Thanks.
There we heard Bronson Reed discuss his release, discuss his reaction, and talk about how, one door closes, some other ones may open, and that's got me thinking about what doors might be open for him. But Trevor, Bronson Reed was someone who was supposed to come up to the main roster. There was a lot of discussion about that. There was discussion that he might be someone slated for a little bit of a push. Didn't happen. Former North American champion is now gone from the company. What do you make of the handling of Bronson Reed, and what might be next for the former North American champion?
First and foremost, let's just address the elephant in the room. The man's talented. It's super talented. Amazing worker. If you've seen any of his work before in NXT, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Even in NXT, he's a legit. He's got to be legit 3 something, almost 4, and he moves like a guy that's like 210, if not smaller. The guy's amazing. To not know what to do with him is just ridiculous. I mean, to not push him up to the main roster might be a blessing in disguise, honestly, because most of the people that have been pushed from NXT haven't done anything. You mentioned Finn Balor earlier. I mean, like, he's another one. Keith Lee, he's been on the main roster forever, and I mean, he had health issues, but been on the main roster, and he disappeared in the thin air. Like, they don't really use him, so I mean, which is probably why they let go of him. I mean, it could be a blessing in disguise. It's wrong how they treated him. It's wrong what they did to him, but it could be a blessing in disguise because I'm seeing a bunch of doors. And I know normally we scream AEW, but this time I'm not going to mention AEW. I'm going to say, since he is across the pond, since he's not, this is a foreign country to him, like Insane Championship Wrestling could be a good one. Could be a damn good one. If he could do New Japan, like that's a great place for him. Hell, there's another little promotion starting a television show soon called by the name of MLW that might need some superstars. So there's so many places a guy that talented could go.
Yeah. I think since he mentioned this in the chat, Ring of Honor to me is I don't know why actually. He says IDKY too, but I'm not sure why. But I do think that Bronson Reed would be great in Ring of Honor. I
I
think
think
Ring
he
of
would
Honor.
too.
Yeah, I think Ring of Honor, he kind of gives off that vibe. I don't know what it is about him. He maybe it's like the NXT kind of comparison, but he could work in Ring of Honor. He would definitely work in New Japan, 100% work. Like we've talked about it. He could be their next big giant,
Yeah.
and I think he would have a little bit more appeal too because of him being Australian too, from that kind of side of the hemisphere. Even though they're different regions still. I think Bronson Reed though that he's what 32 years old. He's young.
Yeah.
The sky is the limit for this guy. The athleticism,
He still moves well. He still,
the power. He should have been big. He should have been big on the main roster. He was definitely big on NXT, and I mean big as far as talent wise. I'm not sure what the disconnect is, other than I think, for being honest, and I'm gonna be very blunt here. I think Vince probably, or people on the main roster who are scouting, probably just see Bronson Reed as just some fat dude. And that's not my opinion at all. But I think
they
that's
could,
kind of what
but
they see him as. But they disregard the talent. They disregard everything about him. But they've done that in the past.
yeah,
Literally, Bruce Pritchard said the reason that Samoa Joe wasn't in TNA or wasn't in WWE long before he was because Vince saw him as a fat Samoan. The reason why Kevin Owens, he didn't get really a push initially, or he got a push, but then his push kind of got stifled, is because at the end of the day, Vince kind of always sees him as just a bigger dude who's not. He's like, he can't be in the main event. He can't.
but
Eh,
look
eh,
at all the guys you just mentioned. Look at how they move. Look at how they work. They don't act like somebody. They don't wrestle like someone too big. Like honestly, if I'm running a race, I'm picking. I'm picking Kevin Owens with me. Like Kevin Owens is one of the most agile, bigger guys I've ever seen.
Dude, look
Like
at Keith Lee. Look at the way they've
he's
handled
big
Keith Lee.
too.
Keith Lee that dude does stuff that I've never seen someone with. Like, no disrespect to Kevin Owens and all those guys.
Yeah,
Keith Lee he's that dude is like an aerial like master. Like with some of the stuff you've seen him, I've seen him do moonsaults. I've seen him do stuff off the top
his
rope,
feet
suicide
are
dives.
limitless. He has no limit. He really doesn't. I've seen him do things in indie promotions that no small man could do.
Yeah, and it's like, I think Kevin actually in the chat just said something very, very true. Bronson Reed reminds me a little bit. Actually, Bronson does a little bit. He reminds me of Bam Bam Bigelow. He reminds me a little bit of
I've been
him.
saying that
But
for a while. Yeah,
Keith Lee really reminds me of Bam Bam Bigelow. Like, and it's not
a
even
more
just
refined than Bigelow.
more refined, because Bam Bam, look, people forget Bam Bam Bigelow he was insane, the things he was doing in ECW. If you haven't seen what Bam Bam Bigelow was doing, don't look at his WWE stuff. He's still good in WWE. Look at what he did in ECW. Someone of his size should not be able to move like that, but he defies that. It's amazing, and he's one of the best workers of all time. One of the most underrated workers, by the way. Bam Bam Bigelow for the Hall of Fame, 20 every year. But
Bam Bam was one of my favorites, and now that you say that, I'm looking at Bronson Reed. He does remind me of Bam Bam because Bam Bam to me had indie feel. He had an indie promotion feel. He had an indie wrestler feel about him. And honestly, so does Bronson Reed. That's not a bad thing, by the way. If anyone that hears me say that's not a bad thing.
Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.